Hey, it's Jamie Zock from .weekly.com. So today, I want to talk about the importance of owning an exact match.com domain name to your brand, product, and even services. So the main thing that I want to point out is to be consistent. If your domain name is different than your brand name, that's a problem. It creates confusion that makes the customer have to think harder and to try to figure out what is their website name, and it's just not a good thing. So to make an impression, be consistent, build trust, owning the exact match.com domain name to your brand is vitally important. So not only owning it helps you be consistent and make an impression, it also helps with securing your brand. There are a lot of companies that start up every single day. There's new products, new services, and everything like that needs a name. So if somebody comes along and decides, hey, we want to be this, and it just happens to match your brand name, maybe in a different class or service that they offer, that opens the door to potentially have them overbrand you, and then all of a sudden you become hid. So do you feel like rebranding just because you don't own that domain name? It's certainly a potential, and I have seen that happen. So another thing is communication. So let's think just email alone. If you picture a large business, let's say Johnson & Johnson or Amazon, and you have word of mouth, talking, meetings, those type of things occurring, and they say, oh, I've used this service before for this. And they say, oh, it's called whatever. It's called Buffer. And, oh, okay, Buffer. And then here's the person's email. It's John Doe at Buffer. And they just assume that by you saying Buffer, or the word of mouth going along, is Buffer.com. That's just a common, natural thing to do. So then they end up sending an email to John Doe at Buffer.com. But it just so happens to be that this service is actually the Buffer app, and they use BufferApp.com. Buffer.com actually upgraded. But I have seen this firsthand. I've seen invoices. I've seen general communication that they want to use a service of this company, but the company actually ends up having an add-on word at the end of the domain, or even at the start. So like Facebook.com used to be the Facebook. So somebody forgets the at the start, it's Facebook.com, and they end up sending the email. It just creates confusion, and potentially you can be losing a lot of business. Not only that, you could also have, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like proprietary information being sent. I've seen invoices sent, which can reveal some of maybe your company's secrets, who your clients are. So email is a big thing, and that helps just having that exact match domain to your brand to help protect it. So the biggest thing is you need to make an impression and stay consistent with your brand. This can go away from your main brand and also relate to a product or a service. For an example, HP Computers owns a brand called Omen, and that's a gaming computer that they offer. So the main brand is HP.com, and then a product that they offer is Omen. So they recently purchased Omen.com, which was a wise decision. I think they even just redirect visitors to Omen.com to a longer URL, but that's okay, because within branding itself, if you run a TV commercial or want to just put a link and you put Omen.com in it, it just makes sense to the customer. It's easy to remember. The same thing can be said with a service like Facebook. So Facebook has groups, they have workplace. So even though it's Facebook groups, Facebook acquired groups.com recently, and then they just redirected. Or you can create a new destination. You can create groups.com and then heavily brand it with your main brand like facebook.com. So please understand that it is very, very important, and it's only going to get harder to acquire the exactmatch.com domain name to your brand, products, and services. How much? I mean, it can be all over the board. A lot of that depends on who the owner is, if the domain name is in use, whatever. I mean, a domain can cost $5,000, it can cost $10,000, it can cost $100,000, it can cost millions of dollars. It just depends on the situation, the scenario. If you're using an experienced domain name buyer broker service, that can certainly save you a lot of money and time and effort. So if you do not currently own the exactmatch.com domain name to your brand, even a product or a service that you offer, I highly suggest to start researching it, start with a budget, talk with an experienced domain name buyer broker, myself, I could recommend some to you, and start the process to acquire that domain name. It is vitally important, and it's only going to become more important. So that's today's lesson, that it's vitally important to own your exactmatch.com domain name to your main brand. That's your most important, even your products and services, and it gives you options to use.